Today on the Brad Link, we're talking all about alcohol for your wedding and how much you should purchase. When you're planning for your wedding bar, the first tip that we have for you is to go ahead and hire a professional bartender. Not only will they make sure that everybody's safe and secure, they'll probably come with a liquor liability policy that'll cover things with insurance. They should be licensed in some way by your state to legally serve alcohol, and they'll make sure that not only can they cut guests off if they've been overserved, but they'll make sure the guests don't get overserved in the first place, and that'll make your event a lot nicer. Your professional bartender will usually discuss with you how much alcohol you should purchase. That way you know exactly, customized for your event, what you need for your bar. But if you're planning your own bar, or you just want to plan ahead and haven't hired a bartender yet, we have a few tips for you to help you get started. Our first tip is to keep things simple. More than likely, when you're going to have an open bar, the majority of your guests are going to drink beer and wine, with maybe some mixed drinks or signature drinks if you offer liquor. But beer, wine, and champagne are overall the items that I see used the most at a wedding bar. So if you want to keep things really simple, you can forego the liquor, the extra bottles of liquor, the mixers, the rocks glasses, and all of those things if you just stick with beer, wine, and champagne. I've never heard anybody complain at an open bar that they didn't have a wide enough selection of what they wanted. Now the next option, the next tip that we have for you is to know your guests. Knowing what your guests like can really help that you purchase the correct amount of alcohol, but also that you purchase the right types of alcohol, whether it be the type like beer, wine, champagne, or liquor, or whether it be just knowing their favorite brand. If you can keep guests in mind, you're more likely to get your money's worth and have more of your alcohol used at your event. Knowing if somebody's a wine connoisseur can help you with your wine count, as well as knowing if somebody might be a beer snob. Sometimes you can even have alcohol brought into events, depending on what your venue allows, and given to your professional bartender for them to dole it out drink by drink. You can talk to your venue and specifically look up what the alcohol laws are in your state. But knowing your guests can make sure that everybody likes the alcohol that's being served and so more of it gets drank. Now, the next tip that we have is for you to do the math. Trying to figure out exactly how much alcohol to purchase can be daunting, and so we have an easy formula for you. If you just consider that you need 1 drink per hour per guest, that should be enough alcohol for you. If you are afraid that I'm wrong, you can err on the side of caution and get 20 or 30% more if you really need to, but 1 drink per hour per guest is pretty standard. A lot of times, one of the things that I see couples waste their money on is too much alcohol at their event. They'll buy 2 or 3 times more than they think they should because they're afraid they don't want to run out. I've been to probably over 500 weddings with our company, and we've never actually had anybody run out of alcohol at a wedding bar. They tend to way over purchase rather than under purchase. If you do 1 drink per hour per guest, what that does is it counts your ceremony time, which usually people, of course, aren't drinking during the ceremony. And also it accounts for your grandmother or toddler that probably aren't going to be drinking at your wedding either, but that can allow for the person that drinks 2 drinks per hour or more to have their alcohol accounted for as well. So the easy math would be if you're going to have a 4-hour long event, so 4 hours times 100 guests on your guest list would be 400 drinks. That's what you're going to have to purchase to make sure you have enough alcohol for your event. And so if you are looking for 400 servings, you have to know what comes in each different type of bottle of alcohol. What's a serving, right? So a bottle of wine typically is going to have between 4 to 5 servings. A standard bottle of champagne is just a little bit bigger, so it's going to probably have a little bit more than 6 servings of alcohol in it. And then if you're going to be doing liquor, we really suggest to keep it simple with like maybe some signature drinks, so that way you have a couple of liquor options, but you don't have to do mixers and all the different types of garnishes and glassware. But if you are going to do liquor, you can get about 16 mixed drinks out of a standard liquor bottle. Now, I'm not talking about shots here because I really don't recommend that you allow shots to happen at your event. The reason why is it can take your elegant wedding reception and turn it into a frat party real quick. It also can allow guests to be overserved so quickly it's hard to regulate. If you're going to do liquor, 16 shots is what you, or 16 servings is what you can get in a standard liquor bottle. Now, beer, we're going to do cans or bottles. I don't even talk about how many drinks you can get out of a keg because one, a keg with red Solo cups is not what you want to see at an elegant wedding. But more than that, there's a couple of other reasons. Typically with a keg, you're also going to have to bring ice cups and a container for the keg to sit in as well as a tap. We've had a tap break at a wedding before and then there was no beer at all. Also, if there's beer left over, it's probably going to go bad pretty quickly in a keg. And if you were to have cans and bottles, you could easily save it for another day. And more importantly, the keg container will have condensation all around it. And that can leak all over the floor of the venue, which is why some venues don't allow kegs. Also, the frat party thing. Or it can also just make around the bar really slippery and wet for your guests, and that can even leak onto the dance floor. So bottles and cans are best for beer. So if you're trying to figure out exactly how much alcohol you should buy, we're going to break down a little bit more in knowing your guests of like how much red wine, how much white wine, and things like that in our next podcast. But until then, we have an easy download for you that can kind of help you calculate the alcohol that you need for your wedding. You can download our wedding alcohol checklist in the link below. And then for more expert wedding planning advice, you can follow us at the Brad link.